RVA Business Talk Radio on ESPN 106.1 FM, The Choice 105.3, and worldwide on IBGR.network. Would you join me, please, in welcoming Mike King Biz Radio?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to On the Mic with Mike, the premier business radio program around. We are on ESPN Richmond 106.1 every day from 5 to 7 a.m. The Choice 105.3, 2 to 3 p.m., as well as International Business Growth Radio. That's where you find us. Saturdays, 10 a.m. I tell people I'm the LeBron of recruiting. We recruited the best and the brightest. This is the Poplar Springs hour right here. We start off with our good friends over at Poplar Springs. But, you know, Lamar isn't here. Kent isn't here. They introduced me to some really cool people. They said they know some folks who are doing some amazing things in the community. Well, welcome to the program, folks.
Thank you very much.
Okay, step up a little bit. All righty, I always say it's a business show. Start off, tell us who you are and what you do.
My name is Keela Jones, and I am the executive director and founder of the nonprofit Atlantic Outreach Group located here in Richmond, Virginia.
All righty.
Yeah, I was good. My name
That's
is
good.
I was good.
You done it before.
Yeah, right. My name is Shiloh Jones, and I am the owner of Hype Counseling Services, co-owner of Central Virginia Preferred Providers.
All righty. So what exactly services do you guys provide?
We provide a large array of mental health services, substance use services, community services, food pantry services. We just do a lot of services that equal better in the community.
Yeah, so basically what we found, just even with the pandemic over the past couple of years, we were trying to figure out what were the needs of the public, right? Over the past 10 years, the majority of the people coming to us face 4 major barriers. And what does that look like? That looks like homelessness, food insecurities, mental health, and substance use. So what Atlantic Outreach did is we partnered with Hype Counseling Services and CVPP, and we came up with a program called Fresh Start.
So in other words, y'all kept it in the family. But you know what I always say to people, changing the world ain't cheap, easy, or free.
It's not.
Money got to change hands somewhere.
Talk about it.
And so what happens is the money business side can help the change in the world side, because the change in the world side ain't cheap or free or easy. So how'd you guys come to the change in the world part? Because what we do here is, this is a social enterprise business show. People believe that business can help society be better. How'd you guys come to that part?
Well, my story, man, to be honest with you, I'm from Richmond City, and my story starts, man, I was doing this work before I was doing this work. And I always like to say it like that. I grew up in north side of Richmond. I know you're from Philly, but north side of Richmond was like are you from Richmond? Yeah. So north side of Richmond, back in the day, we were like the murder capital of the East Coast, right? So it was a crazy world that I grew up in. My family was riddled from substance use issues in my neighborhood. My family was completely torn apart by substance use issues. I had a mom that she had severe mental health issues. I seen her have 3 suicide attempts, actually. And so I was homeless before 15 and 17. And I say all these things to say that when I wasn't supposed to make it out my community the way I made it out my community. And so we really built businesses that give back to the barriers that we felt when we were growing up. And that's really beautiful. We made sustainable business models on helping people to deal with the barriers that we dealt with growing up. And that's why I'm passionate about what I do. I truly feel like I'm in my assignment.
So you were a caregiver long before you got of legal age.
Absolutely. I was doing the work before I was doing the work.
I like that. You had to bottle that one. I was doing the work before I was doing the work. That just tell you what time it is.
Yeah.
So, alrighty. So when we talk to people, how are people doing out there in the community now, post-pandemic? You said, oh man.
Yeah, it's still rough. Like he said, one of our main programs is our food pantry. Prior to the pandemic, we were feeding about 75, 100 families a week. Now we're feeding upwards of 600 a week. So the need has more than quadrupled since that time. And it's unfortunate. We're glad that we're able to help, but it's really rough out there. There's a housing pandemic right now. There's a housing shortage where people just aren't able to find affordable housing. So then you have this homelessness issue. So it's like issue compiled on top of issue.
On the mic with Mike, we're here and we're talking some very important topics. How can people find you guys out there in the space to get help?
You can go online. We have a quick referral form. www.aog4u.org.
So the mental health side, are we better understanding or having more tolerance with that now than pre-pandemic? Do you
So,
see that?
I see it used to be so much of a stigma.
Yeah, come on, pull yourself up by the bootstrap. We don't need no help. I'm good. Especially men, they're like, "How you doing?"
Absolutely.
No, I'm good while the
Absolutely.
wheels falling off.
Absolutely. We don't like, especially black men.
Yes.
We don't like to call in for help. It's weak to have mental health issues. That's what we were thinking, right? And so just the rise of it, I believe that those mental health issues always been there. Just people are being more overt about it, being more transparent about it, being more genuine about them. And so the social collective consciousness, in my personal opinion, is everybody is starting to deal with these issues, right? Substance use. Nobody, even the stigmas that came with substance use alone, you couldn't even get treated in a facility the same way if they looked at you and if they thought you were on drugs. Right. And so this is the effects of the war on drugs that happened in our community, but we were treated different.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's an epidemic now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Before that, it was just a character flaw.
Right.
You was on drugs because you wasn't strong enough.
Right.
Now
they recognize it as a disease.
Yes, a disease now.
Absolutely.
Maybe because when it moved from the North Philly to the north side to went to the suburbs.
Right.
Because
all our drug problems came from Philly.
Exactly. Exactly.
If it wasn't for you guys.
Exactly. The whole world be okay. That's why people look at us this way. But what we are doing is trying to figure it out now. I'm trying to make amends for a whole city. So we're here, and it's good we're talking about this. What's your connection to Poplar Springs and Lamar?
Oh, beautiful. So we form a partnership with a lot of the hospitals because what we do, one of our models we created is a comprehensive aftercare program. When we talked about those 4 barriers, we have a really unique model that lasts from 3 to 6 months with people who come from like Poplar Springs or Tuckers or jail. We wanted to build a model that if a person coming straight off the streets, they come through our incubator. We keep them for 3 to 6 months. And in that time period, we teach them everything with the outcome of being independent. And so that was one of those things. And so when I told you all those mental health services we got, all those substance use services, the food pantry services, all the services we do, the housing, all of those things are linked in to helping a person completely do one thing, and that's change their mindset. We're trying to change their thermostat so they can have a different standard about themselves moving forward and never have to go through that cycle again. Once again, I know how it is to be homeless. And so I really do this on the front line. I'm really passionate about what I do from a different level,
And so you guys have an easy intake form.
Yep.
What's the process once the intake form happens?
So once we get the intake form, someone from our office will give them a call and kind of walk them through what the program is. This program is really intense, so it's not for everyone. However, we make sure, hey, this is what the program is about. This is what the expectation is. This is what we're going to give to you. And from there, we'll do an interview, making sure that they are a good fit from the program. And from there, we do our intake process and we put them into housing within a week or 2.
How do you guys find the partnerships for the housing and all those things? You out on the street hustling, making it happen?
So Atlantic Outreach Group, we are VAR certified, which is the Virginia Association of Recovery Residences, and we provide our own housing to the participants.
All righty, so you guys are out there making magic happen, husband and wife, business, all those things. How do you set up the culture in your household and keep things going, where business and stuff start, family, all that? Because a lot of times it's hard.
Yeah. So I just turned her into my employee.
Oh, that's cool, man. You know, man, I've been married 40 years. This is a disclaimer. Mike has no part of what that man just said. Honey, babe, I don't know what he's saying.
Oh, man.
We're just going to be safe.
The truth of it is, man, we didn't have a choice. Like when I grew up, man, and I actually wrote a book, man. So I wrote a book about how I grew up.
All right, but wait, what's the name of the book? Come on, you just can't.
Success is a Mindset.
Oh, you just can't be dropping that on us.
But it's called Success is a Mind State. It's on, if you look on Amazon, if you just look up Shiloh Jones book, that's SHILOH Jones book, it will come up. But the way we grew up, man, she came from the projects. I came from North. I mean, in every sense of the word, like we grew up in real extreme poverty. We had kids when we were extremely young, 17. Like I told you, I was homeless when I was 15 to 17. She was pregnant right at one of the points when I was homeless. So it was the one. I remember this very vividly. I didn't have any safety nets at that time. and I was on a park bench, bro. And I sat on that park bench all night long because I was trying to protect myself. And all I could hear is that street lamp buzzing. That was a traumatic moment for me. That was that make or break moment. And that was the moment for me that I was like, look, I'm gonna change my trajectory by any means necessary. And so when I made that